Howdy! Hopefully that was peppy enough to really get you hooked in this video. Because it could be a bit of a serious one if you're excited about upcoming games. And we're going to talk a little bit more. Yes, you probably guessed this is a reaction video. But I want to yap a little bit first because you know me, I love yapping. We're going to try and keep this short and sweet. Azure Pamelia. It is a game that I've actually pre-registered for. Now I'm kind of debating taking that back. Listen, we're seeing it right now. Big shout out to Milo, by the way. Hopefully I said that right. This game hooked me. Okay? Just see the combat. And I'm not a big Power World Pokemon enjoyer, right? Because one of the big reasons is it costs money. Money is kind of hard to come by for people less fortunate or in that position where they can just go out and spend 25, 30 of your currency. Case in point, let me go pull up Power World real quick. Yeah, $24.99, obviously Great British Pounds because you probably guessed English. But not everybody can do this. So that's why it's nice having an alternative and a gacha, because it's free to play. Now, you probably guessed, it's a bright, colourful game. That's one of the big things that drew me to it as well. I'm tired of dark, gloomy games that are just like, yeah, you can play us. It's a worn-torn, post-apocalyptic world. Yeah, that's fine and all, but there's a reason Genshin Impact was so successful. Well, there was numerous reasons why it was so successful, but the biggest one, at least in my opinion, was it was a bright, colourful game. Especially in the time of COVID where the world was basically shit. It was dark, grey, no light at the end of the tunnel, and here comes Genshin Impact, all bright and colourful, making you go, wow, I can get lost in this world, and it did happen. Because that was the whole point. So Azure Pamelia is kind of like that for me. It just has the caveat of, well, there's more to do. It's bigger. It's more expansive. You have flight. You probably saw it earlier in the gameplay. Flight there. So why am I bringing all this up? Why am I suddenly kind of turning my back on it? You might call me a LARP. You might say all these things. But there's a good reason for it. I am global. I'm the global audience. I'm not a JP. I'm not Korean. I'm the global market. So we go here to the official Azure Pamelia. Lots of posts talking about Azure Pamelia, really hyping up. And what you expect? You want a promotion, right? Same with Korea. Korea, all posts, whatever. I believe the last one was July 10th. Yeah, July 10th. But at least it's something. Hell, even Spanish, I don't know if this is official, by the way, but even, mostly because of this, but even this has something. April 15th. Well, let's take a look at global, shall we? Nothing. There's nothing there. There's no hype for global. Now, you've probably seen it in some examples. I believe Reverse 1999 is a good example of this. I guess Black Beacon is even a bigger example of this is what happens when you fracture the player base. Nobody cares about the game. Well, say nobody cares. There's this weird friction. For example, you're always going to be playing catch-up. And you're always trying to rush to get global. Say you release in JP. Like, cool, great, you're releasing JP, you're getting the profits over in the Asian market. And then you release 6 months later to global. And you have to really rush global to get caught up to the point in the game where everyone else is. And it's overwhelming and it forces a lot of unnecessary pressure. I say that like, oh my god, I have to play a video game. Oh, no, it's terrible. Nobody has the time for that. So you're always playing that big catch-up. And honestly, it's kind of insulting. Just release it globally all at once. I know you have to compete with other games in the market. I mean, GTA 6 is the biggest one, like on the horizon. Power World has just come out. This seems like the perfect opportunity to market it right now as, hey, we're a free Power World. Sure, you might get sued by Nintendo, but chances are Nintendo are going to sue you anyway. It's Nintendo. Fuck Nintendo. So, with all that said, you've seen enough here. I want to get caught up on what Styx thinks, because this is what really drew my eye to this. So, let's watch Big Love to Styx, by the way, probably the most up-to-date person when it comes to gacha games. All things gacha. Big appreciation. So, with that said, let's get into it.
This right here is not the Azure Pamelia news that we were waiting for. On the contrary, this is probably one of the worst things that could have happened outside of an actual cancellation. People are claiming that this is going to be a Black Beacon 2.0.
Okay, so this just makes me think there's that big split in global. Like, it really does. It just makes me think they've announced there's going to be no global launch on the day of the official launch. Because I believe that date is set in stone. Or will be set in stone pretty soon. And if you know Black Beacon, the gameplay was fine. It was something new, some fresh. They tried something, but the differences between global and JP... Persona 5X also had, I believe, the same issues. But it's Persona 5. It's Persona 5. It has that name on it. It's, you know what it's like.
Azure Premilia is officially scheduled for release on December 31st, 2026, which...
Okay, so it is scheduled for December 31st. Or this year, at least. Okay, that's cool. So that, I believe GTA 6 comes out sometime November? Possibly?
Sounds good. This is really good news until you factor in this is for the Korean version of the game. One, this is a placeholder date.
Okay, so it's for the Korean.
There are people spreading misinformation all across social media claiming that this is the definitive release date. It's not. It is a placeholder date. This could release at any point between now and December 31st. This right here is a definitive, final, must release by date. It is not the actual genuine confirmation of the release date.
And I'm glad Styx has gone through the effort to verify that.
And it's very likely to release probably weeks before this. With this in mind, this is specifically pertaining to the Korean version of the game, the Nexon version of the game. This is not the Chinese version. This is not the Japanese version of the game. And people are incredibly upset. They're absolutely livid all across social media. Here is Andrew, another big content creator with almost 80,000 subscribers that averages 20, 30, 100,000 views for every single video. If this turns out to be real, it is the biggest fuck up in gachas in a long time, since it means that it is going to launch earlier in Korea and Asia in general and later in global, or it straight up never launches. Since there have been 0 English language betas, the worst game management I have ever.
That fills me with a sense of dread that it's not going to release global, which I think it will release globally because, like I said, I pre-registered for it. It would be weird to let me pre-register for it when I'm in England. I'm in global market. It would be weird if it doesn't, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's 6 months to a year late, or later as a release.
Scene. Here is Legions Gaming. Oh man, if they don't do a global simultaneous launch, it's gonna hurt this game bad.
True.
I never understand why companies do this. It's retarded. Here's one from Scripter. That is really bad news for me. Azure Premilia is a good upcoming game that I'm excited to test out, but not having news for global is kind of bad. Global is a big audience. You shouldn't miss.
I should probably mention as well, Scripter is... I said scrolling for YouTube, Styx is the one that noticed it. No, I saw it on Scripter and thought, no, that doesn't sound... It's one of those, like, you know, you hear something, you're like, no, that doesn't sound right. Hold on, let me go verify. And obviously, Styx is probably the... not the best source of information, but at least reliable and speedy.
It's on any gacha game. I hope this is only for some time and not just a general decision. I think that this is for the short term. I genuinely do think they're going to release globally. They have to release globally.
They absolutely have to, but I don't think it's going to be at the same time.
Global makes up a lot of the total gross revenue. It is not the highest demographic, the most lucrative region, but you're leaving millions of dollars every single month on the table. Azure Premilia is not launching with global servers. Global beggars will have to make JP accounts. Who knows if they'll even have English translations? I highly doubt it. So incredibly lame. Global will be behind, just like with Azure Lane.
That right there is probably one of the biggest deterrents. Knowing that, yes, you can play it with a JP account, but you have no translations. So you're enjoying less of the game. Obviously, you can probably figure out certain mechanics because they all kind of play the same. You played a lot of games by this point, not just gacha. You played games in general. You kind of get a feel for, oh, it's this mechanic. Oh, I've seen this before. I can glean the information as to what this is going to happen. But knowing that you're not going to understand the story, which is a big selling point for these games, that a lot of people get excited for. knowing that you are gonna have possibly no English translations, yikes.
And honestly, there have been multiple games that released in China first. Girls Frontline 2, Punishing Gray Raven, after which China realized, oh, you know what? Maybe we should have released a game globally. So they played
because you just make more money.
up. They decided to speed things up, push out more updates, push out more rewards to get the global version of the game up to the same point to synchronize it with China. Because every gacha game studio knows that at the end of the day, the more countries the game is available in, the more money you will earn. It doesn't matter which gacha game you are. It doesn't matter which studio you are.
Hang on. I have a point I want to add, but I want to see if Sticks makes it first.
At the end of the day, the most important metric for any video game is how much money you're making. You have to.
Okay, so, yeah, kind of. The point I was going to make is, you want to release at the same time for everywhere, just because if you release everywhere, you're going to get the money from the day one. If you release it 6 months behind, well, a lot of people have probably moved on from all the hype and expectations, and basically they want to play the game. Because I'm seeing this now, and if Azure probably releases like 6 months and beyond later than it does in China, I probably won't play the game. I probably won't even give it a try, because clearly they don't respect us enough anyway, which is, once again, going back to what I was talking about before, where it's, if they don't care about me, why should I care about their game? Once again, it's a give and take. You can't just take everyone's money without giving the game back. Does that make sense?
To appease investors, you have to pay your staff for content. You have to pay marketing costs. Genuinely, there is so much.
Also, it's just free money there.
That eliminating an entire market the size of global would be a death sentence for your game. Today is a sad day for the West. The announcement of Azure Premier League only comes down to the launch of servers in Asia. There's no confirmation of English, Spanish, French, and other languages. If they launch globally, it would be a surprise.
Really?
I doubt it. Or months after.
Wait, really? Pushing Azure Premier League on iOS has begun. Release date is... Okay, that's the placeholder date. Announced only for China, Japan, and Korea. Oh. Oh, man. That's rough. That is rough.
Asian launch. If they launch Azure Premier League in Korea and Japan first, I'm done here. A staggered release like this is never good for the game.
It never works.
Are you already
Black
trolling the global audience?
Prime
How
example.
many have waited for this? Y'all don't learn. Get up with the times. I made a tweet on this as well. Is China, Japan, and Korea really going to get Azure Premier League before global? I don't know, man. That just doesn't sound like a good idea. Haven't we learned that
basically the same
releases around
sentiment
the world
from everybody
on all major
is
platforms
release
provide
at the same
largest
time?
Chance of success. Come on, I think
Well,
honestly,
where's
this is
the
a
harm?
very tame comment. Then we have comments. They're ignored us the entire time through development and beta, so honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen. It's truly the inevitable, but a lot of games in the past have been like this. Even some MMOs would always Asia first, global second. I'm still going to wait, though. I've been waiting for Azure Premier League since its first initial trailer. I mean, I've been covering this game for so freaking long, since literally the day it was announced. And even though
there's a lot of hype.
disappointed
I believe
with
I
what I'm
did the
seeing,
same as well.
At the end of the day, I will also definitely play this at launch, and probably indefinitely, because I have a feeling it's going to be a very good, very fun game.
Me too, which
But at
is
the same-
why I'm very sad about this. Because it does like it could be a fun, just a fun time. Would it be a serious game? Like, I say serious game. Will it have a combat that rivals Punishing Grey Raven, Wolverine Waves, and the Zone Zero? Probably not, no. It's probably going to be a more casual-sided Genshin Impact kind of combat, with added Pokemon on the side. But is it going to be fun to explore? Hell yeah. Of course it is. It's just going to be a fun time, which is what makes me really sad about it.
In time, I know that they're going to deter a lot of global players from playing it purely because the other big gacha games, Arknight's Enfield, Neverness to Everness, the upcoming Silver Palace game, so many of them have all released simultaneously because they know that that's important. When you release in China, people are going to play the Chinese version and then not play the global version. When it releases in China, players are going to start releasing guides and information for the game, and it's not going to be new. It's not going to be fresh. It's going to take away some of the surprise, a lot of the momentum. Content creators aren't going to be able to grow. It's going to detrimentally affect the...
That's another thing as well. Even if it does release 6 months after the fact, you're going to have little global creators. Obviously, Sticks is going to do it because, like the Sticks just said there, plans to cover it. But a lot of creators will probably give it one try and then decide no. And that's because the global interest has probably disappeared. Because it didn't release at the same time. And the entire game is... The game is spoiled. Like, guide creators for global are just going to be suffering because the meta's already figured out. The best teammates like you can have are already figured out. The game is already solved at the point that it releases for global, or could potentially release for global. So then it's a case of, well, what's the point of playing the game to find stuff out if we've already found it out? I can just go online and look at it, and there we go, boom. That's a big portion of the fun that's just disappeared.
Entire
For global,
landscape of the game. And I love Cherry here and Ryuku Sensei and everyone. So I'm not, criticizing their comments. I completely agree. I don't mean to interrupt the video, but I need to take a moment here to thank all my incredible patrons over on Patreon whose support continues to allow for me to do regular videos like this every single day on this channel. Thank y'all so much, including our YouTube channel members. You guys mean the world to me. So do you guys as viewers as well. Now, without further ado, let's continue. It's disappointing, man. I thought we're past this. Looks like Higan all over again. I hate when we get a game like this and nothing is really new because everyone has already covered or played it already, which is literally what I just
that sense of exploration is disappeared.
Bad move. I understand Azure Lane is bigger in Asia, but this is a bad move. Why do many gacha games try to shoot their own legs in the big 2026? Zero posts from the English version. I feel their target audience basically is Japan for global.
So
they're not. And then there's comments like this. There have been several comments like this. They're not bothering with global because of LARPers like you who despise lollies. So good on them. I don't despise lollies. I just don't like them. I also don't like male characters, but that's fine. It's called a personal preference. I know some people don't understand personal preferences exist.
A very foreign concept.
And dislikes are subjective, but just because I don't like fat girl characters or fat guy characters or guy characters really at all, or old people characters.
I mean, I'll just say this now. You can like a character if they're cute, but if you're doing to those cute characters, yeah. You see how that looks, right? I wish I could do a good Chris Hansen impression, but here we are. Anyway, let's ignore that. Let's keep moving on.
Or lolly characters doesn't mean I'm not okay with them existing. Doesn't mean I'm not okay with also people liking them. It's you like what you like and you play what you play. It's really that simple. When a lot of games come to global last, I feel like we don't get the same treatment as other countries.
That is also
true. I was hyped for this game at first, but I don't know anymore. They are trolling and destroying their hype with this. I saw this a mile away, kind of expected, but sad. It would deter a lot of potential players since hard to get excited over a patch coming in a year later, which again is Girls Frontline 2, punishing Grey Raven all over again. I hate to say, but this would kill my chances of playing it. Manju really wants to blow its own legs off with...
Hang on, I saw something about Werewind's Meat. I've got to glaze Werewind's Meat whenever I get the chance. I mean, Werewind's Meat was China only for like a year and still a successful global when it finally happened, so I don't know. The reason that happened is because Werewind's Meat isn't really gacha. You gacha for the skins. The game itself is, dare I say, AAA quality. It is what... It's barely even... It's not even a gacha. You just buy the skins outright. It's like a loot box in Call of Duty, in Valorant, whatever. Werewind's Meat is just transcended whatever standard you have for it in terms of gacha. And yes, you probably guessed, I do like Werewind's Meat. I plan to go back to it one day when I can get the space for it, because unfortunately, it is a very chunky game.
I hate to say, but this would kill my chances of playing it. Manju really wants to blow its own legs off with a landmine. Not only has Azure Lane not got a PC client, but Azure Premilia won't either. Punishing Grey Raven got a PC client. Arc Knights got a PC
On Steam
client.
as well.
All these big
I don't know when
popular gacha
Ignite
games
is,
are
but
getting
it might be on
PC
Steam.
clients. Nexon tied to it as well. Same Nexon full-on retarded at this point. My guess is that Manju got some publishing deal with Nexon, and Nexon doesn't bother releasing it in global because they think it's not going to be profitable enough. I do genuinely think it is going to release globally, though. I really do.
I
This
would
really
hope
sucks.
so.
I've been hyped for the release
If for
of the
no
game
reason,
since they
but
first announced it.
the company's
going to
be like, wait,
global news
we
updates
could
are
still
clear.
get
This
more
is gonna
money.
be region locked to only those who got into betas.
Like, even if-
this is a good way to fill.
Let me just mute real quick. Even if it's less money, it's going to be more than zero for not releasing globally.
Any of Hoyoverse's games. You saw what happened to Stella Sora when they tried to gatekeep quote-unquote tourists. Yeah, the game is dead, bro. On the contrary, Chaos Zero Nightmare, which didn't try to gatekeep tourists, is absolutely thriving. As soon as global releases an afterthought, I instantly lose 90%
Oh,
of my
what
interest.
was that other game? Star Save You. Whatever happened to that?
To the game doesn't need global to be successful. If it wants to be very successful, like Arknights Enfield,
Exactly, it's going to be successful. Azure really is going to be successful, okay? Clearly, it looks like a game that is marketed and designed to be attractive to VR, okay? Attractive to a casual fan base, which is what a lot of people are play these games. A lot of casuals. It's going to be successful. Hugely, massively successful is a different thing. It is like, will it be, put it this way, will it be Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact levels successful? Possibly not, no. But it won't even stand a chance if it's not global.
Whatsoeverness, Wuthering Waves, etc. Yes, it really does. They could totally ignore a global release and do quite well. Yeah, they could. They really could. But you're also then leaving millions of dollars on the table. Why would you do that? You want them to get it first and you'll know which banners are coming ahead of time. No, you don't. You want to have the excitement
Exactly,
with
you want to
everyone
have
else.
that fun.
You don't want to sit
alongside
there,
them.
see what is coming a year in advance.
You don't want it to be solved already. Okay? It just takes all the joy and excitement out of it, in my opinion. Once again, these are all opinions. Okay? You're entitled to your own. You can agree, disagree. We have to admit, if you were releasing a game, would you just release it for one region? Ask yourself that. If you were releasing Azure Amelia, would you just go, you know what? Just release it in Korea and China. That's it. That's all we need. Ask yourself that.
And then ultimately end up disappointed because you have
Also,
to
they're
wait
called
that
goobs,
long.
so...
Now, these people are delusional. Then you get down here to all the crazies, which I'm not going to delve into.
Yeah, just scroll back
it's
up.
just a cesspool of anger and hate towards global players. They really genuinely do hate global players. Not Nexon, not Azure Premilia.
Don't get me wrong, global players can be annoying at times. Okay, we can be annoying. You know who else can be annoying? Literally every kind of player in the player base. I hate to tell you this, but people are annoying. It's just going to happen. So, glad we got it out of the way. In fact, I'm annoying. I'd probably be annoying right now with all the stop-start.
People are very upset with this, but ultimately, the community that has been fostered is such a toxic cesspool of tribalism and gatekeeping that they want to make sure people that like Neverness to Everness, that like Arknights Enfield, that like Wuthering Waves, don't play their game. They want this to be a tiny little community of people that are only interested in the game in Asia. They don't want the game to release globally. They don't want the game.
It's going to be the same game no matter where it releases. Do these people think of that? It's going to be the same game no matter where it releases.
To release into English. They don't want their game to be the potential success that it can be, which means they don't want Manju, the developers, to be the success that they could be, to have the successful game that they could have. That is selfish. That is very selfish. True. And it's kind of sad to see the community ultimately take this stance rather than be accepting of more players, which would be a benefit overall to Manju and to Azure Premilia. Again, this is incredibly disappointing, but it also shows how unimportant global is. We don't have a confirmed publisher. We don't have a confirmed beta date yet. Not a single beta. Yet Korea,
There is
Japan,
time for this to
China
change,
have
but
all
whether
had
it does or
beta
not
tests, some of
is
which have had multiple beta
up in the
tests.
air.
This is unreal. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and tactically,
And this is his classic end spiel. So, overall, 3 things. 1, great video as always. Stig's always a good source of fast, reliable information. I don't know if you would call it that, but it's information and it's regularly updated. 2, global. You're going to make money from it. Once again, think back to that question I asked you. If you were making Ashravelia, if you were Nexon or Manju, would you say, you know what, just release it in China, that's all the money we need? No, you want to get more money. Money is good. And 3, are you still going to play? I don't know if I am. Especially if it's JP only, and we're going to need English translations. Oh, it's better I say JP only. If there's going to be no English version, so we're going to need translations for it, that's going to kill it for me, I'm afraid. Overall, it's a bright-looking game. Looks like it could be a fun, casual time. It's just not for global. Potentially. Hopefully that changes. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Not just to me, but to Sticks as well. Go show some support. And, yeah, like always, stay refreshing.